The Manjushri is called the Manjushri, Vajrapani, and Avalokeshwara is called the three families, three victorious family. And the enlightened compassion of all the Buddha is summoned in the Bodhisattva Avalokeshwara. He is the embodiment of compassion. The embodiment of the wisdom, the knowledge is Manjushri. The embodiment of the power of all the Buddhas, enlightenment power, is Vajrapani. These three are three principal divinities, which in actuality, our essence of the mind contains the compassion, contains the wisdom, and contains the power. So omniscient mind, in other words, omniscient mind. Omniscient mind consists of three qualities: all-knowing, which is the wisdom; all-compassion, which is symbolized the Bodhisattva Lokeshwara; then all-powerful, like Vajrapani. So all-powerful here, in a sense, we can explain it like a warrior, the Bodhisattva warrior, the warrior who will destroy the enemy of affliction and the enemy of ignorance without any compromising at all. That's called the all-powerful, without any compromising. That's represented by Vajrapani, the three victorious root family. And so supposing, if you want to develop knowledge and wisdom, Manjushri practice is very powerful. It is said that Ju Mipam Rinpoche, he practiced Manjushri for like 16 months in a retreat. And after that, Manjushri appeared to him and then got the blessing of the Manjushri. And then he achieved the, all the knowledge in an instant, instantly like that. So anyway, those are in the Vajrayana practice. Now Vajrayana practice, generally is the tremendous skillful mean, tremendous method is introduced in the Vajrayana practice. In a time like today, when our lives are uncertainty with environmental damage, all kinds of chemical poisonous in the sky, all kinds of sickness, pandemic. So in a time like this, how can we achieve liberation from samsara? We need a very powerful motor vehicle to travel, for example. Like you can't reach the moon without in a rocket spaceship. So only in a rocket spaceship, it is possible to reach moon. Same thing, only through a method of Vajrayana practice, one can achieve liberation. The one very big liberation, the one very big word enlightenment that we talk about can be achieved in a lifetime if you do the Dharma practice genuinely, and then not just any kind of Dharma practice, but Vajrayana practice in particular. Because from the Hinayana teaching, it will take a long time. And Mahayana teaching, the Bodhisattva path, it takes 3 endless eons to achieve enlightenment. 3 endless eons. That's a long time. And one of my teachers, I asked him, what is the endless eon? How do you count an endless eon? And he told me that endless eon is counted by 60 zeros makes 1 endless eon. So 1, 10, 20, 100,000, 10,000, 60 of those. How many trillions and trillions of years practicing Bodhisattva practice, then you achieve enlightenment. Of course, it makes sense. You know, enlightenment is not easy. It's not something in America, some new age, you know, you spend $3,000 on a weekend and then you will get enlightened. You know, those are very much, you know, charlatan and fake. Enlightenment cannot be achieved with money. If money can buy enlightenment, then, you know, everyone would have bought it. You know, especially Americans, you all would have bought that. You know, it didn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way, neither in the past, nor in the present, nor in the future. Enlightenment cannot happen that way. So what is possible, first of all, we need to check it out. Is it enlightened possible in a lifetime? You know, what really would take us to get enlightened? Then we have to study our mind, because the freedom and imprisonment is really the question of your phenomena, your phenomenal world, internal and external, how you are caught up in that phenomena. So when you see that you are influenced by all your habits, and the root cause of the habits is the notion of course, you can see three poison: ignorance, attachment, and aggression. Those are the three root cause for the whole samsara to spin around and for this whole samsara phenomena to manifest. Those are the three root cause. And among the three, ignorance, attachment, and anger, the ignorance is the root cause. You know, the root cause of all of our suffering, all our confusion comes from the ignorance. So that is very important to really recognize, very important to study. One of the amazing things of Buddhism, Buddhism doesn't talk about Buddha's, you know, Buddha never said, just be on my side and follow me and have faith in me and then you'll be saved. That is not what Buddha said. Buddha said, so Buddha said, check my teaching, analyze, and then if you think is right, then follow it. Understood? So same thing, you know, he further said, I've shown you the path of liberation. Now it's up to you. Remember those two words. So what that really tells us, check my teaching. So how do you check your teaching? Oh, I'm Christian, I'm Buddhist, I'm this. No, not that way. Oh, I'm born as a Buddhist. My parents were Buddhists. So therefore I'm a Buddhist. No, not that way. That's not good enough. Or my grandfather and grandfather and grandfather are Buddhists. That's still not good enough. You know, just because, you know, somebody's jumping from the cliff, I also have to jump from the cliff. That's called stupidity. But most people follow that kind of way, you know. So Buddha said, check my teaching. How do you check the teaching? Studying on yourself, your mind, how it is. Your mind wrapped up in all kinds of habitual tendencies, wrapped up in the attachment and aggression and envy and jealousy and all kinds of afflictions of all kinds. And under the influence of those habits, under the influence of those, you know, innumerable habits coming out of each passions and neurosis, and those are the cause of our suffering. Very clear. We cannot deny that. Nobody can deny that. It's true, it's clear. And the root cause is ignorance. From it, all the things spread, you know. So, therefore, when Buddha gave the teaching of Four Noble Truths, he said, first, understand the suffering. He didn't make up suffering. He didn't invent it, suffering. What is within you and what you see in others, each individual going through, recognize the suffering. And then among this suffering, the most important suffering to understand is the conditional suffering. Until you don't see that, you will never see how trapped you are. For example, in suffering, there is suffering of suffering, and there is a change of suffering, and then the conditional suffering, the third is suffering of suffering. You are hungry, and then there is a very strong sun, and you are being baked in the sun. And obviously, you will look for a shade, and you will eat some sandwich. That will solve the problem temporarily. But does that solve the problem of your ignorance or to be free from samsara? No, it doesn't. It is just temporal soul. Even dogs knows how to do that. Cats know how to do that. All animals know. When they are hungry, they will look for food. And if they are cold, they will look for a shelter. You know, that's a common thing. And that doesn't lead deep enough to see how we are stuck and how we are influenced by ignorance. Then change of suffering. Change of suffering, to, even something pleasurable. Let's say you went to a restaurant, especially like a seafood. Maybe you eat a rotten oyster. And then at that moment while you're eating, it may look fine when you're very hungry. You couldn't see it. But then after a few hours, that can have a serious consequence to you. Like that's how the samsara is not reliable. In other words, even pleasurable things can bring suffering. Then the conditional suffering, the nature of that power of the root cause, ignorance, its phenomenal manifestation, no matter where you touch, really, when you really look at the samsara by itself, sorry to say, sometimes, some strong words wake people up. No matter even the pleasurable things are cause of suffering. Let's look at our own body. When we are very young, our skins are firm, we are happy seeing in the mirror, we don't need much creams and all those things. And then as we get older, there's more wrinkles, then all kinds of cream, and then all kinds of injections and the Botox injection, and maybe it has some poisonous stuff and it's not good, but at least, you take the risk. So at the end of the day, it brings fear and try to preserve our identity and suffering. So you see, basically, you are trapped in that. And that is how everything, even our body, even our clothes, you think of it, your house, how much it needs to be maintained. Now, I heard in East Coast and then in New Orleans, all those people suffering, like their houses flooded. And so now it's very expensive repair and they're going after the insurance and you name it, it's like a whole big cycle they have to go through. This is like this. Since one is born until the end of life, people go through that. And it never stops because the main engine is the mind. The mind never stops like that. And doesn't know how to deal with the mind except going after the mind. We don't look within the mind, we go outside of the mind. And therefore, in one of his holiness, Dujum Rinpoche, Jigta Lishe Doji, previous Dujum Rinpoche, in one of his prayer, that he said, please bless me not to plan things at the time of death. Because we always plan things, ceaselessly. Oh, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. And all those thoughts are influenced by, really, if you really look carefully deep inside, how much they're influenced by ignorance, how much they're influenced by attachment, how much they're influenced by jealousy, how much they're influenced by anger. Boy, it's scary to see that. It's really like, this is this situation, state of mind. Obviously, where can we find liberation and happiness? Mind is constantly churning into 5 poisons and then totally lost. So therefore, it is very important to, first of all, recognize it. That's what Buddha said. Check my teaching, like look at your mind. And now, if there is such a situation that we are trapped and we see our ignorance, now there is a way out or not? That's the next stage. Then, like if you look at the Four Noble Truths, first is the understand suffering. Second is the cause of suffering. Now, not knowing the cause obviously has brought all the suffering to us. So now, as far as knowing is concerned, the knowledge is concerned, or the wisdom is concerned, if we have the wisdom, we wouldn't have to go through this cycle of confusion and the cycle of suffering. So where is the confusion now? We see two major parts of confusion. One is called the ignorance of not knowing the phenomenal cause and effect, or conventional phenomenal cause and effect, or relative phenomenal cause and effect, such as your relationship with your surrounding, your relationship with the world, your relationship with yourself on the relative phenomena, not knowing the proper cause and effect. That's what brings suffering to you. And then the next ignorance, so next confusion, whatever we use the word, Tibetan called marikpa. Marikpa means not seeing, is definition of, not seeing clearly is the definition of ignorance. So not seeing, the next ignorance is called the ignorance of not seeing reality. This is very powerful word, reality. Buddhism talk a lot about reality, because the whole teaching is based on the reality of fundamental essence, or we call the nature of the mind, or the essence of the mind, and what obscure and obstruct the nature of the mind and essence of the mind. That's what Buddhism is talking about. It's not talking about be on my side. Buddha didn't say, I'm great, just follow me and just have faith in me. It doesn't work that way. Buddha, in fact, he made very clear, I've shown you the path of liberation, now it's up to you. And check my teaching. Remember those two statements he made. So now Buddhist teaching is based on, not on faith, first of all. Buddhist teaching is based on reality. And when you see reality, obviously you naturally gain faith in reality, which is called no blind faith. Faith by seeing clearly, and faith just simply a blind faith. There's huge difference in that. And how do you know that? By looking into your own mind. By looking how Buddha's teaching, introducing that your mind is the one, your ignorance, you need to remove. And now we can see each one of the afflictions, can they be removed or not? Obviously, for example, out with the three poison, to counter effect, how to deal with aggression, kindness. And how is that? For example, a very simple way. It's like, for example, you get angry to your mother or your father or someone who is kind to you. Then, when you think about their kindness, that mind overtakes your small feeling, your hurt feeling, whatever feeling you have. It overrides, oh, this is not right. My mother, for example, who held me in a womb for 9 months, and then giving birth to me, and then educated me, fed me, cleaned my shit, did everything. And now how can I be, aggressive and not treat her treat her nicely? It's not right for me. That mind will override your aggression. And then by practicing like that, you reach to more and more beings. According to the Mahayana teaching, it says you should treat all beings like your parents. All beings, whether you think they're parents or not, but all being wants happiness, just like yourself. Nobody wants suffering, just like yourself. When you have that notion, you have a genuine love. Like myself, they are same. Physically, we are a human being, and then emotionally, we are the same. The only, you know, only difference is each one have a different karma. That's like a 7 billion human being have a 7 billion different kinds of karma. But in essence, we are all the same. So when you have that kind of understanding, not just only for human, but even for creatures and animals, that they're all looking for happiness, which is very true, then you're able to deal with your aggression. And the more you think in terms of that positive mind, and then particularly take bodhisattva vow, and then you are on the path of the six paramita and four immeasurable. And those are your values, your most precious value, your ethical values, your value. It's like you wouldn't even compromise even for your life. If someone say, I'm going to shoot you if you don't give up bodhicitta, for example, that's not possible. They can shoot you, but they can't take your mind. In fact, Shanti Deva said, why we get so upset with enemies? The worst your enemy can do is take your life. Your enemy cannot do more than that. Of course, it's pretty bad to take your life. But really, when you think in terms of the cycle of our life, the enemy can take your life one time, but it cannot take your sanity. So if we compromise our sanity, then we basically, we say, then we just become like them, So we need to show the difference. So especially on the practice in Vajrayana practice, Shantideva's teaching, then we hold this principle to our heart, those values to our heart, and we naturally will have love and compassion to all beings without any discrimination. That is very important. Without bodhicitta, you cannot achieve enlightenment. You can be righteous in this way, you can be righteous in the other way, you can be say, I'm this, I'm that, still not good. Patul Rinpoche have a very strong word, his students following on the path of Mahayana. He said, outside looking like a practitioner, is look gentle, look peaceful, and they look like a practitioner. Inside, your mind is churning up with affliction. Without mingling the Dharma, there is no good in that person. Put the shit of the 10 town in that person's mouth. Meaning, it's a very powerful word. Basically, it's no good. It's just facade. So you cannot compromise your bodhicitta. And your bodhicitta, your heart of compassion, heart of wisdom, you need to uphold that, and mindfulness has to come on bodhicitta. And of course, we failed a lot on the path. How many times we failed? If someone say a little bad word against us, we lose our temper. We get very angry. We get very frustrated, annoyed. We couldn't forgive. Of course, is that a good quality? It's not a good quality. It's a bad quality. It's our weakness. But just, but that doesn't mean that you have to give up. You learn from your experience, right? We all, nobody instantly become enlightened. You go step by step. So you did something, and then you see, you went under the influence of your, definitely under the influence of your ignorance and affliction, and now you change it. And then you take bodhisattva vow. Therefore I say, first thing in the morning, try to set your motivation clear when you get up. And the way to set your motivation clear, now today, whatever I will do, may it benefit being. I think that's a good thought to put, outside in your mind, and to look at that way. And then, furthermore, a practitioner can take a refuge in Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and think about the quality of our Lokeshwara, the Manjushri, and all the great bodhisattvas, like then his son is Dalai Lama, and then many, his son Dijum Rinpoche. You know, I remember when I was studying with his Holiness, he was in his probably late 70s. And he is so high asthma. His Holiness has an asthma problem. Like seriously, if it's me, you know, I would be in bed. But then he made effort to come there and sit and meet people, and whoever it is whether people need protection, he will give blessing, whether, you know, guidance, whether teaching ceaselessly, no matter how difficult and how hard his asthma was, always there for him to be. And then one day, you know, I just want to share this with you. One day I asked, Your Holiness, can I benefit being? And when I said that, I've never seen in my life from His Holiness, almost tears came out of His Holiness' eyes. He said, me, the old man, I'm doing, of course you can, he said. So that moment, it was like so powerful. The seeing, when he talk about beings, the love can be pouring out like a mother's love. You know, if the child is next to a flood, would be swept away, or next to a fire, would be burned. Just how to grab it first without any second thought. That was like what I've experienced. Just like more than, for me, it was more powerful than reading like 20 books or 100 books on compassion. Just he had that asthma, and nevertheless, he was just there, presence, you know, seeing people and benefiting them. And so it was, you know, that's how bodhisattvas are, you know, and that's the quality we all have. You and I are no exception. We all have that quality. We just let ourselves wander under the influence of ignorance and affliction. We didn't woke up from that. That's the only difference. You know, we have the same nature as all enlightened beings, 100% so, no difference at all. So anyway, so therefore every day now, you know, our precious human rebirth, due to our good karma in the past life, we've achieved a precious human rebirth. And now we must not waste this precious human rebirth. You know, we all have a limited time left. We don't have unlimited time. Life goes day by day, every moment by moment, it withers away. And your main business is to take care of your affliction and ignorance. You have no other business than that. So many people try to make war in the name of religion. They're stupid, totally stupid. So all they do is kill, maim in the name of religion. If you become my follower, otherwise you'll be killed. All created. How can one find liberation in heaven by doing that? You know, it's ignorance. Absolutely. While one's own biggest enemy within ourselves, our anger and our attachment, our ego, all those qualities are there. It's madness. I think the word madness can be applied there. So therefore, you know, our main business is to tackle our own afflictions. That's our main business. So therefore, in His Holiness, one of the teaching, he said, please bless me not to see the fault of others. Please bless me to see my own fault. In today's world, in America, I see a lot of blame game going on. Oh, because I'm not well because you did this and you did that. And when we do that, we try to make ourselves believe, you know, it's none of my problem, it's all problem coming from outside. It's a very fool's mind. It's very short-sighted mind. Maybe, yes, nobody's perfect. Some may have caused harm, but getting back at them, would that really solve your problem? No. In fact, you become vulnerable. Next time, you know, you can't even handle what you went previously. So in order to solve all our problems, bodhicitta mind, Tonglen practice, Do Tonglen practice, taking and sending, Tonglen practice, meditation. Those are the ones which is going to heal yourself. You're going to find your joy. You're going to find your liberation. So therefore, it is very important to do Dharma practice. Mean working with oneself is Dharma practice. That's the main one. All all the past enlightened beings, they work with themselves. That's how they become enlightened. Without working with themselves, there's no way they become enlightened. In some way, there's also saying, no practice, no realization. No retreat, also no realization. You got to do retreat. You got to do practice. You got to do practice on Tonglen practice. You got to do practice on meditation. And then when you do it, then you will see a transformation. Otherwise, this Mara, the Tibetan Sanskrit word is Mara, or the Mara is also called like demonic state, but there is no other demon. The ultimate demon is one's own confused mind. You see, external demon is no big deal. You can shut the door and, lock. You can even, probably rent like a big vault and stay inside. No one will come inside, lock it from inside. But your inner demon, wherever you go, is come with you. And its only business is always give you pain and suffering. There's no other business than that. And that's what's happening to us. So we should recognize that. And the way to counteract that demon of ego, bodhicitta mind, is the only mind. There is no other mind. You can look in the entire universe. There's no mind beside bodhicitta to how to handle the inner demon, So anyway, so please, as I said, our life is precious and we have very limited time. And day by day, our lives get shorter. Moment by moment, it gets shorter, closer to death. And then if you die without doing anything right, then where do you think you will go? Did you ever ask that, really thought carefully? As far as your mind is concerned, it's still heavily influenced by your habits. And the yesterday habit is carried today. Today habits will be carried tomorrow. And mind is not like an animate, it's an inanimate. It's not like an object that you can put somewhere or you can destroy it, burn it in fire. If your mind is like a animate, you can, put all kinds of chemical and just get rid of it. It's no, mind is like inanimate. There's no form to mind. And now you should also check whether your mind is form or not, no form. Look at this. One is to do those meditation, really find out what is mind, how is the mind, what's the nature of the mind, how the mind functions. You really need to analyze and look into those things. So anyway, our life is short, very, very short. In fact, I think even 300 years if we live is short, personally. Of course, we don't live 300 years. Maximum we will live, very few people may cross 100, but most people 70, 80 like that. And that's too short. But however, now, is it possible in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, can we find liberation, that we can find our way out of this cycle, vicious cycle of samsara, the vicious cycle of affliction, the vicious cycle of ignorance? Can we get out? That's our main aim. Really, that's the way, we say aim the gun. That is where we need to aim the gun. Is how can destroy this ego and ignorance and affliction. That, because your present state of mind, like you in a cocoon of that, and you need to break through that. Because no one else can do their job for you, yourself. Yes, the teacher will be there to guide you, but you need to follow and you need to do what you're told. If you don't do it, nothing can be done. So, and the ego is such, ignorance, ignorance is so sneaky. Ignorance doesn't mean that, like you are, like if somebody hits you with a hammer, then you like get knocked out and you're unconscious. It's not as simple as that. If it's simple as that, then ignorance cannot rule you for eons and ages and years and days and hours, it cannot rule you. It is so tricky to make you think in a total false way. And that's why it's called ego. And that's why it's called affliction. And therefore, it's give you the hallucination of something. And then it plays that karmic phenomena is very complex web. It's a very complex web. So you need to see the interdependence, how it works. And then, one by one, you can deal with it. As I said, how you can, first of all, calm down your aggression by overpowering thinking of, your kindness by others. That, helps you to overcome your aggression. Then same thing with the attachment. Then finally, the root cause, ignorance, and there are many methods, many teachings in the Buddha Dharma, from the Hinayana level to Mahayana level to Vajrayana level to Mahamudra level to Dzogpa Chimpo level. Amazing. If you can practice, you can really see an enlightened mind in this lifetime. So all those things are there because you originally have that quality. If you don't have that quality, no one can put that inside you. It's not like a computer chip that can be put. It has to be natural. It has to be self-born. Self-born wisdom, we call. We don't call it like, outer wisdom given by, some divinity, divine gods or divine Buddha. It's not given by. It's within you. You have that enlightened quality. And for that, you can see how you can work with affliction, with bodhicitta. And you triumph, you become victorious. And then same thing as you go deeper and deeper, then minds get to very subtle level. And then first you handle the gross level, then you handle the subtle level. Then finally you realize the most, subtle or the wisdom awareness of yourself. And then completely become free from the cycle of samsara. So is that possible? Yes, it is possible. And there are many methods like, meditations, Tonglen practice. Then, for example, through trauma practice, one of the very sacred practice of Dakini practice, trauma practice, Dujung Lingpa's 13 great students. This is in 1900s. We are not talking 15th century. We are talking like 19th century, around their time. 1819 year 1000 1800, so is it maybe 18th century? Around that time 13 of his students achieved rainbow body, means completely at the time of death their body dissolved into light, and of course what that really means now today, it shows that our mind, subjective mind, is the one which finally makes the ultimate decision. For example, we have this notion that objective phenomena is very real. That's how we, in this gross phenomenal dualism world, we go through that. But today, do you also know that quantum physics scientists realize there is no such thing as objectively inherent existence on the object. Really, they also realize that when they look at the nature of the atom and the most tiniest atom, there's no such thing as inherent atom. It's just a energy, probability, without any independent state, meaning there isn't anything outside. And we, and when we look at like our dream, when we go to sleep, we dream a lot. And we see so many things, but actually none of them things are there. But we experience all these things. That's how the mind's habits are projected by the mind. It's like seeing a television show or seeing a movie, So then it brings a lot of question in mind, how our projections are influenced by our mind. Of course, it doesn't mean there's nothingness. There is, there is the awareness, which is the root cause. And now whether we see the awareness in the right way or whether we get confused and see that in an egoistic way, dualistic way, that's really very deep. And that's what we need to, understand and realize. So anyway, so now let's do a meditation. Too much talking is not good also. So let's do a sitting practice. Uh, so please sit straight, make yourself comfortable. Make yourself comfortable, whether you're sitting in the cross-leg posture or whether you're sitting in a chair, make yourself completely comfortable. Your body, no stress, like, relax, but straight. Don't, not like in a sleeping mode, not leaning back on a sofa set or things like that. Then, you will fall asleep. So the point here is to have the awake quality, wake up quality. That's the whole point. Wake up quality, but relax. Like drop the whole thing, so to speak. All your business. Normally we have this thing to do in our mind, this thing to do with our body, this thing to talk with our speech. Just drop it. Drop all your activities. And now just watch your mind. Just, as saying, on the zafu, which is zafutan means where you sit. Japanese word, I think, zafutan. Sitting cushion. Cushion is called zafutan in Japanese. So on the zafu is your body. Or you can say on the chair is my body. In my body is my mind. And mind, relax. Like drop it. Don't try to, don't make your mind work. Your mind is busy and in turmoil because you make it work like a slave, like a bad owner, bad master who gave a hell of a time to his work without any rest. So it's like that. You make the work mind do this, do that. Now just drop it. Give the mind space, like total free, like, and now don't worry about what thoughts come. Whatever arise, let it arise. If this thought arise, don't try to suppress or no, don't go after that. As I said, let it be, let it free. Don't try to, and then also don't say, oh, this is a bad thought. Now it's, not good. I should think good. Again, you're working it out. You can't do that in meditation practice. You do that like, ethical practice when you're in post-meditation state. The meditation, you are learning deeper about the mind. There are many levels phenomena function. On a grosser level, then on the subtle level. Grosser level, yes, when you meet someone, you be, gentle and kind. And those are the way how the world likes it and how the world works. Fine. But then when you try to really go deeper to your mind, so if a good thought comes, you cling to that. Bad thought comes, you try to get rid of it. You'll be constantly subject to fear. Hope and fear, hope and fear. Hope for the good, fear for the bad. There's a thing, hope for the God and fear of the devil. It naturally will come. So therefore, that's not really the inner quality of your mind. So when you see in meditation, a good thought comes, you just recognize that thought. Oh, that thought comes. That's it. Moment you recognize, you don't have to follow after it. You don't have to, go make something out of it. Just on the spot, just drop it. Then a bad thought comes. Oh, this is terrible. You want to kill the beings of the whole world. 7 billion human beings I want to kill. It's okay. You just have the thought. Just see that and then let go. You don't have to engage in that. You don't have to entertain that. It's just a thought. Thought is just a thought. And when you see a thought as just a thought, it will dissolve. It's like the ocean, waves come and waves dissolve back into the ocean. Clouds come from the sky, clouds dissolve back into this sky itself. Likewise, you don't have to do anything. Just be there with the breath. So when you breathe out, put your mind in the breathing. That's shamatha meditation. Where your mind is focused to your breath. So you need something so that you don't get lost. Right now you still haven't realized your awareness. In order to get to that point, to realize your awareness, you need some guidance, inner guidance. And your inner guidance here is your breath. That's your measurement, where your mind is. So, you just focus to your breath and then just be with the breath. No need to cling. First, just be open, utterly open, just with the breath. And then, of course, thoughts will arise. All kinds of thoughts will arise. When they arise, oh, just reckon this is just a thought. And then don't engage. Just let it be. It will come, it will dissolve. It will come, it will dissolve. Then, now, of course, there are a few things to remember, like mistakes of meditation. So if you fall sleepy, it's not good. Then you lose your meditation. In fact, it will take you to ignorance level. Mind will get, drowsy and ignorance. It takes you there. You don't want to do that. You need to shake it up, like move your shoulder a little bit like this, something which will just get rid of it, overcome that. So that's how you do. And then if sometimes too many thoughts come, if it's too many thoughts come like a waterfall, then I don't know how can I control. It's just overwhelming thought. Don't worry about it. Let it arise. Let it arise. Just simply watch it. It will dissolve by itself. There's a saying, how do you tame a cow? You tame a cow by giving it a big, spacious meadow, and the cow will eat grass and walk, and finally it will get tired and flop down. Same thing, you allow the mind, let it arise. Don't try to stop it. If you try to stop it, it will arise more. That's how the mind works. You say you cannot do this. People like to do that, If you say go and do it, then people don't do it. That's how the mind works. So therefore, allow the mind, just simply watch. And then as you keep doing like that, then at some point you will find stillness in your mind. Right now, there may be the mind is too many movement, instantly the movement takes you over. There's no stillness. You need to develop stillness. And when through your breathing method, at some point you will develop stillness. Calm abiding is called calm abiding. Then at that time, no matter how others insult you or this and that, it wouldn't affect you very much. Now your mind is strong and your afflictions are not as gross as before. They become more subtle. Not that you've eradicated, much subtle. So you will be able to handle things much more realistically, compassionately, and able to develop your sanity more. So there's another sign that through your meditation you will gain. And then furthermore, your concentration, your intuition, your compassion, and then those who are highly developed meditation, they can also gain, I'm talking shamatha meditation, and then they can also gain foreknowledge, So many qualities come, plus 3 kinds of quality. The joy in the mind, bring joy in the body. And then like mind become very spacious and open. So anyway, those are the quality of shamatha meditation. And then we need to add, like then post-meditation state, just to remind you, in post-meditation, bodhicitta mind. Now in post-meditation state, if you see someone really needing a help, and you don't say, okay, this help is also conceptual, let me go. You try to do something good, so you need to differentiate, how to, in meditation state and post-meditation state. But at the same time, in post-meditation state also, you will go through many rough situation or challenging situation, whatever your life situation is, working with your colleagues or disagreements and whatever, it'll be much more open, more relaxed, more patience will develop. So tremendous benefit in meditation practice. So please do that every day. It's your only medicine for your mind. There's no other medicine for your mind. You can take drugs, you can take alcohol. They're all temporarily. In fact, they're more damaging than helpful. So therefore, that's not the path we want to take. We want to take the path which is inborn quality, bodhicitta mind, meditation practice. And of course, you know, you're not making war to anybody. You're not making war to any religion. You're just seeing what quality we have within ourselves. That's all. So, just simply is doing meditation. Would it hurt some other forms of thoughts, religion? No. Would it harm some other society? No. Would it harm, just practice on bodhicitta? Would it harm Democrats? No. Would it harm Republicans? No. Would it harm Green Party? No. It is good for everyone. So therefore, we need to know that. So anyway, so let's do a meditation now. Relax and be with the breath. Just breathe naturally. And your breath is the measurement. If your mind gets distracted, go the breathing. You're supposed to be with the breath, one pointed concentration. But don't be uptight. Things will happen in your mind. But when you recognize, that's the important thing. Guilt part is not the important thing. Oh, I have missed my meditation. I've done it wrong. That whole guilt feeling is simply neurosis. That's not the point. You need to cut through neurosis. You need to see the awareness. Okay, very good. So, any questions you have? I will give the next Thursday meditation coming Thursday. So just to let you know. And then, so now let's have discussion if you have any questions. I cannot hear.
Unmute.
Okay. Sorry, I cannot hear. Jim, can you hear?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay, I have a few questions and I'll try to be brief. One thing is, I like to take the Bodhisattva vows. I'm 66 almost, and I want to, other than raising my grandchildren, this is what I need to do for the rest of my life very earnestly. So as we all do not know how long we will live, I feel like it's very important to do the vows. Secondly, I want to ask you, I'm having a problem with only one thing about the Bodhisattva vows, and that is mice and bugs. And we're not supposed to kill them. And I don't know what to do about this. It makes me feel very bad that I have a mouse in my house and my children, my grandchildren are like, don't kill it, Grandma. You're not supposed to. And I'm like, but it brings disease. What should I do?
Well, Bodhisattva vow, when you take it, you say you want to take a Bodhisattva vow, then you want to take a full Bodhisattva vow, not partial Bodhisattva vow, you know? I think you want a partial Bodhisattva vow.
So that's what I'm thinking. So what can I do to make that easier for myself? Is there some way to yeah, they do make live traps too. Some way to some process to help my do this quicker or something.
Well, I think first of all, you know, thank you for sharing that. I think it's wonderful, you know, that you feel is, you know, you feel uncomfortable in killing a bug, in killing a mouse.
It's
that
not
itself is, you have done practice and you recognize it's not something great that you should be doing, but you have to abandon that. So normally, you know, according in the Sutra of Karma, in the Sutra of Karma, if you save a life, if you kill a life, it's 500 lifetimes you have to pay. 500 lifetimes.
Yeah, see, so that is why I'd like to make that not part of my situation.
Yeah, so you know, whatever has been done in the past is past. Now in the future, if you can, try not to kill.
Yeah.
But you can't take a bodhisattva vow and then do that.
Okay.
So when you're ready not to do that, then you have to take the bodhisattva vow.
Okay, well, I think I just wanted to talk that through with you because I do want to take the vows, but I was just feeling very uncomfortable with how do other people deal with it if they have.
Well, there's the bodhisattva vow means bodhisattva vow. When you take the vow, you make a declaration.
Right.
From today onward, humans, non-humans, gods, asuras means demigods, gods, demigods.
Right.
Humans, all of you, I become your host. So then you have to practice accordingly to that.
Okay.
So you you look deeper into yourself, and if you find it difficult not to kill a mouse and not to kill a bug, then you keep practicing until you're ready.
Okay. I think I pretty much am, but I just wanted to clear that up. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was there was a practice that I just got called, just ordered it from the bookstore, The Son of Primordial Wisdom. And I think it's by the same one that wrote the Torch of Freedom book. Is that true?
Torch of Freedom was wrote by Jamgon Kongtrul, I guess, right? Which one?
Those are different.
Are they?
A different book?
Okay.
Who is the author?
Yeah, Jigradal Yeshe Dorje.
Oh, Jigdal Ishidoji. That's his son, Dhrum Rinpoche. Okay.
You think that is a good thing to use with my Nikundro during the week?
What's the name of the book?
The Son of Primordial Wisdom.
Is that a Dzogchen teaching book?
Oh, she says, Tracy said it is a trauma text.
Trauma text. Well, if you're doing trauma, then it's good. But if you're not doing trauma, you don't need to do that.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll just read through it. So, because I don't think I'm doing trauma yet. What I'm doing is Nikundro, you know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
far.
Okay. Yeah. I would like you to read Bodhichara Avatara teaching. You know, read that, and then, you will come to a conclusion whether you want to take a bodhisattva or not after reading.
Now, which book is that you're talking about that I need to read?
Bodhicharya.
It's the way of the bodhisattva.
The way of the bodhisattva.
Okay, I have that book. And
Please read that.
I have two
Read
of them. I'm
that
reading them
slowly.
now. Okay.
Read that chapter by chapter and reflect on that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And also you talked about a certain kind of beads. Are these the ones? They have little, they're called I don't remember the name, but they have little
beads.
puddles.
Bodhichi beads.
These beads, they're for mala. You told me that they were a good thing to get, but they might be expensive. And I don't know if I got the right thing or not, because these were not super expensive by any means, but they have little protuberances all around the circular thing. They're like a seed or something. Is that what it is?
I don't know. Without seeing, I can't tell from the Zoom. It's difficult to tell what it is. But if you're doing like Bodhisattva, Avalokeshvara, or Padmasambhava mantra, I'm pretty sure it may be okay to use. If it's a flower seed or like that.
Yeah, Tracy just said it was Rudashka.
Oh, Rudashka, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
So is that the thing you were telling me to get, that it was good before?
Well, you see, Rudraksha, each one of the beads have different energy. If you use like, usually for peaceful, compassionate practice, one use crystals or like Bodhichi Mala. Rudraksha is a radful energy practice. Those tantrikas, yogis and yoginis who do like a radful male and female practice, they use the Rudraksha generally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you think I should just use stone or crystal or something then?
I think if you want to be a bodhisattva, I would say crystal.
All right, very good. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to bother with tonight.
You're welcome. Okay.
I appreciate it very much.
You're welcome. Yes?
Could you?
Hello, Rinpoche. This is Michael. Hi. I have a question.
Yes.
Hello, Rinpoche. I have a question about Tonglen practice.
Okay.
When I do the Tonglen practice, it seems like there's different ways I can do it. The first one seems very relative. I can very much feel the suffering and allow the appearance of the phenomena to be intense, even unpleasant sensations arising in the body, like the suffering, feeling it very deeply. The other way that I've noticed is more of one taste, sort of understanding the suffering as it comes in and the clear light as it comes out.
Can you say, I lost you. I lost you. Can you repeat that again? Tracy, it's okay.
Is my voice a little clearer now?
Yeah. Now it's okay.
So I've noticed there seems to be different ways I can experience the Tonglen practice.
Okay.
Sometimes I allow the appearance of the suffering to be quite intense, more of a relative view a very, very intense experience of the suffering, even in the body, and then the clear light on the way out. The second way seems a little more almost an absolute posture of the suffering comes in and it's known to kind of be the same taste as the clear light on the way out. It's a little more emphasis on almost the emptiness. So it feels different these two ways. And so I was wondering if you could maybe share what the best way to practice the Tonglen is.
I think, first your talk is one is relative Tonglen and one is, in absolute, there is no even the question of to give or the giver, because there is no such thing as the ego or externally or there's no ego exists in other beings. There's no ego exists in yourself, ultimately. That's where emptiness comes. But on the relative aspect, that's where you do the Tonglen usually. So on the relative aspect or conventional aspect, yes, you will go through all kinds of experience, sometimes rough, but that's the only way to deal with that is when you feel rough, it's working. That's the important thing, it's working. Such as you feel resistance in taking the, others' suffering, others' pain, because we always used to habituated in protecting ourselves and always throwing away the harm to others, taking all the profit and good to ourselves. So this has been heavily habituated in us. So at the beginning, some student may feel, oh, taking other beings' pain is overwhelming, I can't. That's why it is important to start with your mother and father. Most people have very, of course, there are some people who don't like their parents, but overall, there's a genuine sense of mother's love and feeling, and that's how we begin. And then slowly, as your Tonglen become much more deeper, then it's reach out to all beings. Then, now after that, once you did the Tonglen, that at the end, it's important to see, otherwise it doesn't become a full bodhisattva practice. I think it's a very good question you asked. Then after, at the end, then you should see, even, yourself, is devoid of inherent existence. The person you are taking is also devoid of inherent existence. The nature of all phenomena is emptiness. Then I usually say, rest the mind. Now, if you can rest the mind in emptiness, all the great, Otherwise, just simply rest their mind after doing the Tonglen practice. Now, don't try to engage in thoughts or anything, just let go. But in this case, I would say, like, really after the Tonglen practice, then try to look into, it will first is called analytical meditation. Analytical meditation in this sense, then you try to look at your skandha, like in the Heart Sutta, skandha is empty of, the nature of skandha is empty. There's no atom, and all form, feeling, perceptions, all built of interdependence, meaning there's no independent existence. So therefore, when you see that, then mind will lead to like an openness, emptiness. And then that's where you want to rest. And then resting will, how deep you go to your awareness will depend in understanding and in realization. Now, understanding and realization is two different things. Understanding, is more intellectual. And then realization is the byproduct of a genuine understanding. Then you feel it in yourself. So therefore, it's go deeper and deeper. But combine those two, it's very good. First you do the conventional aspect, taking and sending. Then after that, when you finish, rest your mind in emptiness. That's very good. Yeah. In that way, then you're able to combine compassion and wisdom. Otherwise, compassion one side and no wisdom. If there is compassion, compassion cannot eliminate samsara. Compassion can bring like a cool wind breeze from the heat. but it cannot eliminate. So it's important to bring the compassion and wisdom together in the practice. Nancy, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I was working with, looking at attachment, and I was looking at the exchange of I for other, if that makes sense.
Please say that again.
The exchange of I for other.
Like that's what we're doing Tonglen practice, exchanging. Basically, when we talk about Tonglen means taking all the, others' pain and suffering on oneself and giving all the good of ourselves. So then it sounds like in a way very simple. Yes, I will be in your place of difficulty and whatever good is there, please take it. In a simple way, sounded like that. But then when you look at it, it's basically the I, the notion of I, the notion of me, how did that build up in our being? How that phenomena came into a being, to feeling of I, the feeling of me. There has to be some basis. You can't put I to an empty sky. There has to be a basis. And the basis for the I is the 5 skandha, which is form, feeling, perception, impulse, and consciousness. The 5 skandha is how your 5 skandha, your form, your feeling, your perception, and impulse and consciousness, then you, with that form is called Nancy, right? Then that is called Nancy, and you have you identify yourself with that Nancy. But then you have a feeling that, there is like a one inherent, independent, indestructible Nancy, and so that clinging comes into your mind, and that clinging was forms the ego. So then, now there are many ways of dealing with the ego. Of course, in this world, people say narcissism is not good, egoistic is not good, egocentric is not good. We all know these kind of things are not the right kind of mind. It's a neurotic mind, and we need to get rid of that like that. But we still don't know how they are formed and how they function. So from that point of view, where is that identity being identified with? That identity of Nancy is identified with 5 skandha, your form, your feeling, your perception. And then it's just form is not just one thing, it's billions and trillions of atoms. And then perception also same thing, so many facets of thoughts, imagination. And so each one of them, without any single entity, but multiple facets. And what multiple facets shows is not independent. So if it's not independent, that's what's make interdependent. Anything which is interdependent is empty of inherent independent state. That's what form is emptiness, emptiness is form. So then what that tells, it never says that, you don't exist. It says that the way you think you exist as an I, as an independent ego, that one doesn't exist, because that one holding to that, it creates all your affliction and brings all your neurosis, and that's the root cause of your suffering. So therefore, it's important to recognize the ego as a destructive nature, neurotic nature, and that's why we do the Tonglen practice, exchanging, taking all your positive energy to others, and then when you keep doing this practice, meditation, then at some point your hearts open up, and then the obscuration and afflictions gradually begin to purify and melt, and then the clear light and the basic goodness begin to shine within you. Right now, the basic goodness is obscured by this ego, and the way it formed is through the 5 skandha, and the root cause, of course, is ignorance. So like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, very good then. Let's do a dedication. In the world in general and in this nation, may not in the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly arise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. By this merit, may all beings gain omniscience, and thus defeat the neurosis and negative actions which are the enemies. From the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of cyclic existence, may all beings be liberated. Thank you very much. Everyone have a wonderful evening, and I will meet you on Thursday, okay? Very good then. Good night.
Thank you,
Good night,
Rinpoche.
Welcome, thank you. Okay,
Thank you, Rinpoche.
okay, okay.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Rinpoche.